What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? We are back for another Moon Knight, episode 5, Asylum. I have my co-host here. What's going on, Ant?
Not much. Just enjoying life. How are you?
Man, allergies kicking up.
What you doing as you cough up along doing your Doc Holiday? You lunger.
I'll be your huckleberry. Anyway, so let's go ahead and get down to it. So coming off the last episode 4, we already kind of did our breakdown for that. You know, we had our choice thoughts about, you know, where the strengths are and where some of the weaknesses are. And one of the things that I did love about the last episode is where it went really psychological. You didn't know for sure what was really happening. And your perception was that, oh, okay, he's stuck here, but why is he here? Now we find out that, lo and behold, that he is actually in a metaphorical asylum that his mind has created as a way of escape before he's about to literally pass on into the next life because they are dead effectively. And we had talked about it. We were like, how did they even get there? Didn't they just get shot? You know, maybe the hippo guy is going to protect them. You were right. You spot on about her. The difference with this episode that I didn't anticipate, that not only is this, well, to me, the best episode of this series without any action at all, but it was the most emotionally resonant. It was a couple times, man, I almost teared up, straight up.
No, I sat there and I had to get a box of tissues real quick. I had to dap. I had to wipe it.
A little thug tear came out.
A little bit, got a little moist. Look, I did not expect that. I was like, I sat down. Blood Hunt came out today. I was like, you know what? I said, let me get a game of Blood Hunt. See how this game is before. I was like, you know what? Moon Knight didn't come out. I was like, I'll put Moon Knight. I was like, oh man. Let me just put this to the big screen real quick. Oh man, let me get my blanket. Oh man, let me get that pillow right here. He gonna be him. Let's look away. It's not what you for, Steven. It's not what you for. I felt this episode, man. It's hard seeing trauma play out in such a realistic way, and he's gonna win an award for this show. Like before this, I was like, oh, he's playing two different characters. Well, he's an actor, that's what he do. But this, he's gonna win an award. This is gonna be the Marvel show that takes it. It doesn't matter if how many episodes is the last? 2?
It's 1. It's only 1.
1?
Yeah, it's 6 episodes. The last episode.
They can drop the ball with the 6. This episode saves this whole series. If the wrap up fails, it don't matter. I would still say watch this show for that episode 5. You might as well finish with 6. 6 with some old bull, but you gotta get up to 5. You know what I mean? Like I feel that way. And then all right. I'm sorry. Let me you run the show. I'm talking. I'm rambling. I'm in my emotions. People. I can't help it. I ain't too big to cry, y'all.
So yeah, no, I mean, we're probably gonna be all over the place with this, you guys, so just bear with us because this is the thing, and I'm saying it because I actually legit recorded my reaction watching it because I was sitting there, I was like, oh man, kind of like what he said. I was like, dang, oh man, where are we going with this? What is happening to these oh my god, what's going on with this child? Because, initially they kind of went through like the different doors, like, okay, y'all are unevenly balanced. I was kind of like, okay, maybe it's the other, version of them. That's the reason why there's the loss of balance. But no, it's their actual incoherent processing of how their trauma has left them. And, we kind of suspected that Mark was the initial, but we really didn't know what it really meant. Why and how did Steven get created? And honestly, that is what the identification of this episode is how and why was Steven so essential for Mark's survival?
Well, you called it was a defense. You called it was a defense to we thought it was a defense to him killing the
soldiers and yeah, right.
We didn't, and I don't know why I didn't, because that's exactly where stuff like this forms, is childhood trauma. So I don't know why I didn't go to that. I think I dumbed down this show
saying
more than
that
I should have.
He needed a hug. He needed somebody to give him a hug, bro. And this is the messed up thing. the person that could have given him a hug, the person that could have given him a little bit of reprieve is literally gone now. Effectively, like, left to the land of the dead, effectively. And so he's sitting there in the promised land. I don't know how he's going to emotionally process that. But anyway,
his safety blanket got left in the desert, and they stepped up. Steven stepped up. He started bashing it. He was and saved them, which was his job. But does this leave room for the? You know what? I'm rambling again. I'm sorry. You stay that runner. We going to the gate of Osiris. Let me stay Sam. I'm gonna refrain myself.
It's all good. So again, from the very beginning, we go into this episode. The hippo guy was like, "Look, y'all are dead. Normally, we kind of do this thing, and it's kind of a more peaceful thing, and y'all are kind of in asylum. But I'm cool with it. She starts reading through her little papers and like, okay, I'm gonna get you to where you need to go, and then y'all are gonna be good. Hopefully, y'all balance out, or otherwise, you're gonna get dragged to the dirt." And so,
did you catch the Wakanda reference?
I did. I thought that was freaking dope. But the moment that they were unbalanced, she was like, "Look, y'all got a little bit of time to figure this whole thing out. Y'all go, both of y'all." And so they go down this journey and spiral through Mark's memories, or what he recounts. And in some of it, it was interesting because you forget that what Steven sees is not necessarily what Mark experiences, and vice versa, because they were both looking at each other's doors like, "Oh wow, that was freaking dope. Oh wow, I didn't even remember that. Oh wow, who is that? Oh wow, what's going on here?" And so then it starts.
There was one room that neither one of them recognized. There was one room that neither one of them recognized. Did you guys that the kid when he was on the street as a kid? Like, "This you?" He was like, "I don't know. It's a street. How many streets you been on?" And they kind of dismissed it. I think that's going to come back. I also thought it was interesting that Mark, rather than face his childhood trauma, Mark was going to try to kill a hippo guy. People, hippos are freaking scary on their own. A hippo god with alligators, like. But that's how much Mark did not want to go down them childhood memories.
No, he was like, "I am not doing this. We are not going down this route." And it's crazy because when you start to see like the little threads, like you see like the small little happy moment, him and his brother, and like it's just like, oh man, they're so cute. They're a nice, wholesome family, and then they decide to go to this cave. And Steven decides to go and try to follow it. But he locks out. I don't know if he locked out Mark or Mark subconsciously locked himself out. But at the end of the day, when he locked himself out, it was kind of like, crap. Steven's going to have to experience all this, and he never had to. And while we're watching as a viewer, you don't really know. You're kind of like, well, okay, the perception is that this is just something that, he just felt and he just zoned it out. But no, like there's a reason why Steven never had to feel all that, because he had a fulfilling life, because he never had to go through that trauma. And so when the little brother didn't make it, and I'll give credit to Disney for this. If they had pulled some stuff like Steven's literally in there and he's like drowning and he kind of comes out and survives, but it's like actually Mark, a young version of Mark, and like the brother is just dead, that would have been rough. That would have been heartbreaking. Like they used tact, in my personal opinion, this episode with a lot of this, whether it was the beating, whether it was the verbal abuse. They used a lot of careful tact, because a lot of this stuff is really harsh. It's really gut-wrenching, in my personal opinion. And when it came to the funeral, man, look, bro, that's when I started feeling emotional. Got to the funeral, and the mom was like, "What are you doing here?" And then she just goes off of him at the funeral. I was like, and this is a crazy thing. Steven was like, "No, Mom, don't you know what you're doing to him?" That's his first line. And I was like, and it's crazy because I don't think Steven's perception was that he was trying to look out for Mark, but instinctively, that's what he was doing. Like, he was like, "No, I got to see what's going on with you. If this is you, I need to feel what's going on." And it's like this whole entire series, like, it's never been like, okay, Steven cares for Mark or Mark cares. Like, we were debating whether or not, they were still cheating on each other, But this
you were debating. I'm okay with it.
Man, no. This episode cemented their connection. their real vibrant connection. I said in my reaction, I was like, if they had started off this series with him in a legit asylum, just started from this episode alone and went forward, and then you kind of get the unfold of like, I would have been fine with it. Like, and not to say that all the rest of the episodes didn't matter, but this is the finite episode that I needed to have it be like, okay, Oscar Isaac is Moon Knight in every way, shape, or form that I care about. Because before I really didn't care. I was like, there's possibilities here, but the psychological aspects and the realness and the rawness of this is what I've been waiting for. And it's not even on the violence, it's just letting this really go for it. You know what I mean? I don't know if you can comment on that or your perspective.
So I agree with everything you said. I kind of feel like Disney was like, what? They're gonna talk some ish about us, not no blood. They worried about blood. Look, we do emotional damage in Disney. You see how we kill our villains in movies? We hang them, we burn them, we drop them, we get them eaten by hyenas. That's how we do it in Disney. You ain't gotta see the blood to feel its pain. And they smacked us with it. And I feel like that's what we just got. We got to like just smack in your chest. It's like, yeah, you cry. You let your eyes water sting a little bit, don't it? And I feel like that's what Disney just did to us. Because again, we saw about layers, and we all saw they left all the breadcrumbs there for us to know what was coming. As soon as you saw that little brother, it was like, he gonna die. I was like, cave? They gonna come in a cave? Okay, boy gonna drown. And he's like, and it was like, and they showed us the mom say to him, it's all your fault, before they showed us those scenes, before the funeral and whatnot. So he's like, oh, that's coming. And but when you knew it was coming, it still hit hard because you're imagining being that little boy. And it doesn't, and you don't have to have parents that purposely, didn't want you or thought you was the enemy or blamed you for something. But as a kid, we can all say whether we got ignored at some point. We thought it's because we weren't good enough, or they took somebody else and we thought, oh, it's because I'm fat or stupid or whatever. And some off the wall comment could have been devastating us. Now imagine that's happening every day, and the only person between you isn't really protecting you. His dad loved him. He also loved his wife and didn't know what to do. Didn't give them the help they needed. Didn't know what to do. And besides that, when you saw, because this is how I imagined it, when his dad was at work, that mom was beating him. I don't think she beat him when dad was there, but when dad was at work during the day and that kid was there, she beat him. Every opportunity she got, she beat him. And to see that hitting, and every floor was a different trauma. Every floor was a different. And
like, how they designed that was crazy. Like, you gotta think about it. Like, it's a simple thing, but you could feel every single time he'd go up a flight of stairs, you felt this is the hard part. Like, if you really think about it, this episode made me really feel like Oscar Isaac was two different people. Yes, he's been like doing it and you've been seeing it, but it's all through visuals. But with this, the whole entire episode, Mark was terrified to the point that he retethered himself back to the doctor to be like, oh no, I need to feel some semblance of normalcy for a second. And you know what? I think that's probably why. I think that's why that Mark chose an asylum, because maybe that's where he's always wanted to go. Maybe he felt like, this is maybe what I really actually needed, as opposed to just continue to go down this vicious cycle. But you really felt, that Mark was terrified and Steven was just determined to see it through by any means necessary. Both men were trying to do that. And it's the same exact actor. You see what I'm saying? Like, all they're really doing is Oscar Isaac going up a flight of stairs and going to a different level. But the way that they shot it, the way the tone felt, the way that they felt disconnected emotionally, and then bringing it full circle to how when Steven found out what really went down, it brought him to a place of trauma, to the point where he went back to your boy Ethan Hawke. And he put water in his face. He was like, yo, what's going on here? Like, oh, okay. Wait, no, that ain't okay.
And I like there's two things I like about that. I like that, one, we saw Mark react to this, and Mark, I have worked with or been around people who are handle violence, bullets, deployment, no problem. Dealing with childhood hurts and traumas, that's what scares them. Dealing with being emotionally vulnerable, that's what scares them. So we saw Mark, who is maybe doesn't revel in violence, but he's capable of doing violence, and he's comfortable being in violent situations.
Right.
Scared to death of dealing with these core hurts. Steven, who has been out of his element with the physical violence, was actually able to cope with some of the mental trauma a lot easier than Mark.
Right.
But even though that's not what he was designed to do, and the line where he was like, I'm a lie. He's like, so what? You got to live the good life. You got to live the life without this pain. You like all this. I would rather be the lie. That's what he was saying. I would rather be the lie.
Right.
And you don't want this. You don't want this. And I thought that was this. Every scene in this was powerful. Every scene in this thing was this powerful.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, Stephen Grant, somebody just posted that. It all started with Stephen Grant, the poster. Is that what you were saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was smart. So this is the crazy thing. Like the acting range in this episode is the best out of the whole entire series. But as a functioning character in the Marvel universe, I now am all behind whatever they do with this character. Which is so hard and weird to say, because the last episode we were talking about all the things that they weren't doing that they could have capitalized on, and this episode had no action, really no blood, but it had a real character refinement. Like the whole point was us understanding who Mark and Steven really are, and we got all of that in one episode.
And when it said, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, after the episode was over and it came up, executive producer Kevin Feige, executive producer Oscar Isaac, I felt like they were saying, like, I told you so. Shut up. Just watch the Jordan. Sit there complaining or whatnot. We know our jobs. He ain't talking that mess now. Here, take a tissue, clean yourself up.
Oh yeah, shout out to Ronan. So Ronan, the last episode we did talk about that other sarcophagus, which was red, and how it was rumbling and moving. It's definitely another personality. I think, honestly, when and if Mark comes back, that's gonna be the other personality that kind of helps guide him.
Steven?
Now, I don't know where that place of trauma is going to come in, of why he would need this other personality or the in-between of that. Because it's only been implied at this point there's only one, replacement that he's created. And I didn't, other than, like you said, that one scene that they didn't know about, I don't recall in this episode him implying any other thing. But honestly, we didn't perceive that this was a thing. I don't know why I never thought about his childhood. I never thought about it because they
feel bad. I feel bad.
Right, because they use Layla so much that our focus was on his relationship with her that we don't. And you know what? I just thought about that. We don't know when they got married. We don't know anything about their relationship. We just know they were married for 10 years, right? 11, 10 years?
I don't remember the time. So was it a decade? Were they married a decade?
I think so. So it's kind of like if Steven never came out any of that time, what are the dynamics of their relationship? Like, it could actually be another, because that's a lot of time. That's a whole lot of time.
So I know nothing about the Moon Knight character besides this show, really. Like, I've seen him pop up in some things, but I didn't know a lot of them. Someone told me in a chat that there's another personality called Jake. I know nothing about Jake, and I wonder if they got rid of the Steven personality to introduce the Jake personality. But I also wonder, does Layla live through this? Like, there's another trauma create another personality in that he needs to rely on? Is there another great suffering? I don't know. I'm very excited not to know. I know so much about a lot of the comic book stuff and things like that that I can pretty much piece together a lot of things.
Same.
I'm excited not to know. The other thing I liked is we saw, I can never remember his name. What's the god's name?
Oh, Khonshu.
Khonshu's manipulation.
Dude, that was
his
sick.
Body.
He took advantage of that, man. Bad.
And how Steven broke down, because that was somebody who preys on somebody that's emotionally vulnerable at the time, has low self-esteem, emotionally vulnerable, probably a heavy drinker at some point, feeling a lot of guilt, and he took advantage of that, man. Took advantage, and even as much grief as he gave about, the stupid one and the other personality, that was one of his attractive features to him at the time.
Right.
Oh, you have a fractured mind. Oh, yeah. Right. Oh, you mean you from out of town in Hollywood? You don't know nobody? You don't got a place to stay? I got a place for you to stay. Like
right.
That's the kind of thing we were seeing, and it was creepy. It was creepy. Even the hippo lady was like, "Look, you sure you want to go back to country? Death ain't so bad. These frozen sands, beautiful starlight. It ain't that bad over here."
Oh man,
you know who the actual overall series antagonist? Let me talk you there. But I wonder if Khonshu is the overall antagonist of the series, not the season, but the series overall.
He gotta be. He's gotta be. And I think the thing is, like, for him to continue to be Moon Knight, that's a forever thing. It's not even just a series. It's just the character as a whole. Because like, how do I put it? He has to be tied down to this entity to actually do any semblance of good physically, to rid the world of certain things like this. So he's always going to be connected with it, no matter what. I think that's the tragic side of that, because he really did use him. Like even Steven, like the way he was saying, like, no, you didn't deserve this. You didn't do anything as a kid. Like, you didn't do anything wrong. Like, Steven was doing so much to try to help console Mark, even in the midst of him feeling the trauma for the very first time himself. I also like this man in this episode, even though this ain't even the villain.
Ain't even really him. Ain't really him.
It's not even him. But he's doing better.
In the whole series. The best he's in the whole series. Even real villain.
Right. Like, I'm like, dude, he's playing it so well. And I don't know, did you see the trailer for a movie he's got coming up called Black Phone? Bruh, he looks menacing in that. But
he's a great actor. He's a great actor. No shade on him.
It's just so weird because, like, I actually like this version. Like, I don't know, it ain't even really him. So it's kind of I don't know.
I feel like those two actors saw this episode or read the script for this episode, was like, yeah, we'll do it. Like, all this other stuff ain't me. This is the episode I want to do. This is the episode that I'm happy to do in the thing. I think that's what they were all about.
Right.
Because this is the best he's been. And I don't know if it's material. I don't know if he just didn't like the other character, like the real world character. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's directing, but he shines here. He's actually his foil in this scene, in these scenes. He's actually his foil.
Right. Like, I think I wish that it was actually Harrow in some capacity.
Because like a piece of his soul still there or something.
Right. Like, he's connected to trying to get Moon Knight or get Mark away. So there is no connection anymore to Khonshu. I wish, because he was just so good, bro.
You know what would have been better? If instead of shooting him, he grabbed him and judged him, and without Khonshu, he wasn't protected or something. And that way, this is like
all connected to his mind.
Yeah, and it happened. That's everybody goes through this in their own version of whatever. But we're just seeing the slowed down version of it. That would have been a better. That way, we give some credit to the villain,
right?
To the antagonist of the series. We could have gave him some credit, but now I can't give that credit. I can't give him nothing. Name is it Harrow? Is his name Harrow in the thing? Is it?
I think so.
Can't even give you credit, Harrow. Can't even give you credit. His imagination of you is better than the real you. Like, am I missing the real you?
Right, and you're right. Ronan, like he was great. He was so good in The Northman, you don't even recognize him. Like Ethan Hawke is an amazing actor. He's an amazing actor.
He kills it in everything he does. He's been doing it for over 2 decades at this point, right? So, yeah, which is it is really sad. That is really sad because I'm like, yeah, but I was like, oh, you ain't even a real villain. This is you're really just another part of Mark's mind. Mark's mind makes you more menacing than you are in real life. Where I think if he had used that power, because I don't even think he's used that power since we've seen it in the second episode, really. Like, if he had used that power and he and their being fractured helped them survive it or something, like, I don't know. It could have been done better.
Dude, they the last time I seen Harrow, he was digging out into some dirt in the I don't know what that ninja was doing, man. Yo, somebody said, hey, look, I'm gonna say this. Because sometimes they do nominate episodes. If they had an episode to nominate, this would be it. This would be the episode to nominate. I can't say they would give the series as a whole a nomination because I don't think it's that good of a series to bold that. But from a performance standpoint and from this episode, yes. I would definitely give a nomination for this episode.
And you know what? I don't want to downplay it. We might get an amazing final act of this. I don't want to downplay and say we don't got any hope. I know. I'm trying to be optimistic. Sam. I'm trying to be optimistic. They might stick the landing. I know we're gonna get some Marvel schlock on this. I know we're gonna get some Marvel, just there's probably gonna be a bunch of nameless villains at some point. There's gonna be something we don't. I don't know. No, look, I'm gonna hope.
I'm gonna say this. This is the only way that they could, because this is my prediction. I'll say my predictions now. I was gonna say that for the end of this. We're on a whole tangent at this point. I predicted the next episode, Mark's gonna get back to the real world. He's going to try to stop Harrow if he's not already brought this other deity back to life. And he's gonna get Khonshu, he's gonna get the Moon Knight, and he's gonna try to fight, but he's not gonna be able to do it to his full potential because he doesn't have Steven. Which I think that the third entity is actually the most vicious one, because as much as Mark, doesn't care about killing and stuff like that, he's not really a vicious person. You know what I mean? Like, we haven't really seen Mark truly angry. We've seen him more on the defensive. But when the second episode, when they were going through and killing things, like, somebody was like, why would you do this so viciously? He was like, I didn't do it. And I think that is the rage and the aggression side. And I think that we're going to get that. And it's just going to be a whole bunch of splish splash of Marvel action and stuff that's going to be less than an hour. Now,
I had a really dark thought.
Now, I would say if at the end, Moon Knight, something happens to Layla or something like that, he's still going to be Moon Knight no matter what. He kind of goes and starts parading the streets and trying to protect people. And all of a sudden somebody stops him like, yeah, what are you doing out here? And all of a sudden it's Blade or something crazy like that. Yeah, you get a pass from me, but that is my complete prediction of the episode. I don't know. That's my prediction, honestly. I know that sounds like a downer, but
I have a really dark thought.
Go ahead.
Do we know what the mom died of?
Ooh, oh.
And do we really see what happened to the brother? And did we really see the guy?
Look, no, this is the mouse, bro. This is the mouse. Look. First off, this is the mouse. No, this is the mouse, bro. This is the mouse, dog.
You see where I'm going with this?
I know exactly where you're going with this. You're trying to say that the entity that was created, because this is the thing, and I know you can like medically, break this down. You can go for it, but a lot of times trauma has a lot of different causes and effects depending on, and I can imagine rage and anger being made manifest into an actual entity could be a cause from the trauma that he had. So Yeah, like when he's lost all sense of himself, it's like he allows that to come out, or he doesn't even know that comes. I think that would be worse. I think if he didn't know that was happening, like he actually did kill his mom, or he actually did kill Layla's dad, or he actually did, have jealousy towards his brother and killed his brother. Like, I mean, I could believe that. I could believe that. Could that be useful as a Moon Knight tether? Yeah, but that's dark, bro. This is the mouse. The mouse would never. The mouse would never, dog. The mouse would never do that, bro. Now it would be. Okay. I'll say this: if they did do that, I'll say this on camera. If they do that, if they do that, these last 2 episodes made the whole series.
Whole series.
If they do that.
If they do it. If they
do it. They're not going to do it. They're not going to do it.
They're not going to do it. But I'll see the ways they can stick it, or they can shut us up. But I mean, we don't know. All we saw, if that other image that neither one of them knows was him looking up at the window. All we saw is there is some rage there. That red casket was shaking violently that they don't bring out often. We know that Conchu saw something in him. Yeah, it was red. We saw Conchu saw something in him, right? He saw something in him that he really needed. Steven ignores or freezes or appeases. We know Mark flees. Is the fight response? Did I get an altar? Did I get an altar in there somewhere? That just is you know what I mean? Like, we don't know. Look again. Look at those pictures. It's 3 people in that promotional art. There are 3 people. There are 3 people in that promotional art. That's my theory. I'm probably wrong.
No,
the mouse can imply a whole lot. I mean, am I crazy? Am I crazy?
No, it's not. It's not crazy. It's not. It would be phenomenal. It would probably be, honestly, because if oh god, if that is, I'm not justifying it. I'm not justifying any of it, but it's believable for somebody that had a psychological break on the level of this. I think it would be. I think from a story standpoint, it would be amazing. From a tragedy standpoint, it would be the most heartbreaking thing the mouse has ever done. Because daggone, like, WandaVision, she got her darn kids taken away from her. Loki got, his situation that happened, even though that was amazing. So I don't know, bro. I don't know. I think that if they did do that, I could say I'll forgive the lack of blood and violence if they went that route. I would forgive it. Because if it was blood and violence and they went this route, yeah, that'd be too much for kids. The kids can't handle that. It's too much for
but if this happened, and I'm saying he needs to be the direct doer of the image. Maybe the rage made something happen. I don't know. We don't know how mom died. We didn't see brother died. We don't know what the little kid was staring up at. Was it a grown him staring up at the? I can't remember the image. They both didn't recognize. Was it him as a kid in the street or him as an adult in the street?
So it was 2 different images. There was one where it was him younger, and then there was another one where he was looking up in the street, and I think that was this moment right here where he just decided that Steven needed to come out. He couldn't handle it because it was at the wake of his mom's death.
Okay, no, there was a scene where neither one of them recognized the door. You know what I'm talking about? Like there was a scene where he was like,
yeah.
You know that? He's like, I don't know that. It's like, I don't know. How many streets have you stood next to it? They kind of dismissed it. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm talking about? I didn't make this up, did I?
No, you didn't. I just don't remember what it actually was. I'm actually trying to pull up the episode now so I can see if I can confirm it. But yeah, so from I wanted to ask your opinion from a psychological standpoint, based on the trauma, based on what happened. removed all the fantastical aspects of this. How realistic is something like this happening on a surface level to somebody that experiences this level of trauma to create another entity to protect himself and also to cope with that said trauma?
Well, and that's what I was being mad at myself, because like most of these things come from trauma associated when you're young, when you're a child. And those really early years, even like before age 12, I think before age 9. But you don't have to look that deep into it. We've all throughout our lives made masks or had personas that we portray to protect ourselves, right? And this is no different. And remember when we talked about last episode when the world was warping and the lights were shaking and he opened the door and it was, I can't remember who it was now. It might have been Steven. He saw Steven and it was like and everything got stabilized a little bit. That was the protection. So these breaks of reality, right. Even if and again, if you think about somebody who reinvents the history, rewrites history because they can't really deal with what they did or the part they played, whether that was they had challenges as a parent or they had challenges with violence or some situation, and they rewrite what happened because they can't deal with the reality, right? And that's an adult.
Yeah, I think that is when he's looking at his dad and his dad was telling him to come in. And I think
that was across the street. This is looking up.
Oh, I thought the dad was kind of in the window, trying to get him to come in to the wake. I can't really remember.
Maybe you're right. I thought either one of them recognized this one, so I could be wrong. People.
So Steven asked him, did he recognize him? What are you doing here? And then that's when Mark said this, you're going to revisit every single memory you ever had.
So he didn't want to revisit that. He didn't want to see that other memory. You're right. Okay. Sorry. I thought I saw something there that wasn't there. But yeah, so I mean, that's completely plausible to create these personalities. And this is where they come from. I had a patient once tell me that he started saying Tigger, and I didn't know what he said at first. So and he was like, no, Tigger is the personality. He's here to protect me from, because first like, but he says you're okay, type of thing like that. And you got to talk to Tigger, and Tigger had his perspective on what was going on. Yeah. So sorry, I'm making sure I don't say too much. So, but you have these personalities that are there for a specific function, and a lot of it is protection from things you don't want to deal with, anxiety, trauma, things you don't want to, and it's all to protect the primary in a way.
Wow. Okay, so okay.
Did I answer your question?
No. Yeah, you did. Yeah, I was checking to see if that was something that's plausible or something that, kind of like, because they're adding fantastical things and they're making it seem believable, but it's more so like how much of this is actually something that can really happen to somebody that has a psychological break, such as how Steven had it. And it's so precise the way that his story fleshed out in this one that it's like, for me, I can believe almost all of it. It's crazy.
I did like how he said we can't involuntary medicate you, stab you that anymore. You're watching too many movies. I did like they threw that line in there because you like when you do things for freshness, you're kind of when you see things like I talked to an FBI agent once, and I was like, "What's the worst thing that you see when you're watching FBI shows?" He's like, "You know what I hate? That no one ever writes anything down. They're sitting there talking to victims or source information, and they're just taking it by memory. No one's writing anything down. I would never be able to work that way." And so sometimes when I see things about mental health, I'm like, that wouldn't happen. So when I see this big needle go in this guy's neck, I'm like, okay. So they mentioned that later on. Somebody did their homework. Someone did their homework, and I did not give them enough credit when they did this show, when I first started watching this show.
Wow. Yeah. And again, credit to Oscar Isaac, man. Like, he really, it really does feel like two different people. Like, through this entire episode, like, there was never a moment I started to question, like, oh, okay, well, no, they're experiencing the same exact thing very differently. and they're both trying to protect each other. Like Mark's trying to protect Steven, and Steven's trying to help Mark get through this. So I think that that's where this is so fascinating, and I think that this is a very good show. Well, very good episode of this show. Your dad across the street. It looks up, but not as far as making it seem off a bit. Yeah. Brother Walton. Yeah, thanks for coming out, dude. 6 of you guys here. Thanks everybody for watching. So yeah, what is your prediction outside of the humongous one that now like it's gonna just let us down when it doesn't happen? What do you think realistically is gonna happen in the next episode? I mean, Harrow has been saying for this whole entire time that he's trying to bring back this other god, and I don't know why. I don't even care. I don't know what the benefit is. And
so
I think that's gonna happen.
Yeah, I think we're gonna get the Marvel thing where if we don't get a fantastic ending, we're gonna get the same thing where the hero has to fight a different version of himself, maybe a bit more powerful, has some like game hack, and so we're gonna get the whatever God Moon Knight version, maybe. I don't know. If it goes that route, I'm gonna be less interested. Like I said, I don't want to talk trash about it because I want to believe they can keep up this quality. the last couple episodes, I want to make sure I want to believe they can keep this quality up. So I don't want to trash it, but I'm in fear that we're gonna get the anti Moon Knight different. Like Marvel does this a lot, and I wish hero movies would stop doing it. Like our hero storylines will stop doing it. I don't want to see the opposite of you. I want to see a different thing or something like that. But we're probably going to get that other god. He's going to be in the avatar for the other god and be able to fight Moon Knight on even footing, or he has some kind of like he's more powerful but because we're together and we have two minds or something like that, we're going to overpower it. That's where I think it's going. I hope not though. I like my version better. I like my version better.
Yeah, I think when I looked at Luke Cage, and I'm gonna use this as a perfect example. When I looked at Luke Cage, like the first season, and went through the first episode, go all the way up until the episode with Cottonmouth gets killed. Mm-hmm. After Cottonmouth dies, I was kind of like, oh, okay, man, it ended on such a high note. We still got more episodes to go. Like, oh man, this is gonna be really dope. No. And I feel like that's where we're at with this one. But difference with Luke Cage, like it was building really well, especially with Mahershala up in there. This, I mean, it had moments, had great moments. This was a phenomenal episode, 10 out of 10 easily. I just wish the whole series was like this. And I don't know if Moon Knight is going to be a season-to-season situation or if it's going to be an Obi-Wan situation where it's only a mini-series, only one shot. But like if the whole series was like this the whole entire time, I wouldn't even necessarily care about the action or the violence because this is so much more fascinating. Like if they started from this baseline, right, and they started to go through and like, all right, no, you have to revisit, you know, how did we get here? What did you do in combat training? Once you left home, where'd you go? Like, why did you go to the military? What did you have to deal with in the military? Stuff like that. Like, I think that how did you end up in a relationship with this woman? Like each episode showing different levels of how Mark ended up to where he's at right now. That to me would have been way more. And you wouldn't even need a Harrow. You wouldn't even, because honestly, Khonshu is the villain. Like Harrow is irrelevant to how good Khonshu is as a villain to me.
Have you ever seen oh sorry, I cut you off again.
No, go ahead.
You remember an old comic book and it had a like a season or two on MTV. It was called The Max. It was a show called The Max. It was about this the superhero that was kind of a bum, but he had this big purple outfit and these two like claws and you thought it was gonna be this like bloody action thing, and it was not. It was all about what was going on in these other planes and they're inside their mindscapes and it was really unique for me at the time in my development to see a show that I thought, and it had some action every once in a while, but the more it went on, the less action there was, and the more it was just messing with your mind.
Right.
I would have watched the whole season of Moon Knight being this, being that, where
Same.
it's just dealing with your mind. Maybe there's some violence or some like random act of like him trying to be a hero, but also dealing with these issues. But the main story is dealing with this stuff and working this stuff out. I'd have been here for it.
Right. What did you say, Ronan? Yeah, I get what you're saying. I love last week's episode. It gave me pure Indiana Jones vibes. Also, from what I've heard, Oscar Isaac signed on for this show. Oh. Ooh.
But once he gets those awards, get some praise out of this, get some love, and that Disney check roll up to him. It's like, look, we ain't paying Johnny no more. We got some extra millions. You want some of these millions? Here you go. Here you go, Isaac. Come on, Isaac. Come on. Well, these all got Johnny Depp's face on it. No, this is just watch that out. It's still good.
No, I get it. I mean, no, I get your point, Ronan, that he would possibly do that. Meaning he doesn't want to sign on. Well, this is the thing. This is my personal opinion, though. Kevin Feige said, I want to say like 3 years ago, that he wasn't going to do any contractual agreements with movies or entertainment anymore. That it was going to be a case situation. Like he didn't want to bank everybody all at once. So I think depending on how this rolls out, if people really like this and it ends well, I think that he'll come back in. Matter of fact, if they're smart, they should make a Marvel Knights and put it on Hulu if they can't keep it on Disney Plus, even though they should be able to do that. Make a Marvel Knight series and allow them to all. I'm not saying like the Defenders where they got to have like a series to do that, but like from a tonal standpoint, with the character like Moon Knight or character like Blade or character like Punisher, I think that there's a series available for them that can be in that vein and it can still work because out of context, like, I mean, I would have never suspected we would have got an episode like this. I would have never. I hoped. I didn't even know I wanted this. I really didn't know I wanted this, but I loved it. I really did. I really did love this episode. So
the hype was true based on this episode. Based on this episode, the hype was true.
Right.
And you're right. They could go so many places with this. Give us some good quality short series. You could bring them all together for something. And then if you want to, because the horror aspect of Marvel isn't really explored. It's really explored. I honestly don't want Blade running around with the Avengers. I don't want Blade running around with the Avengers. That's not the place for him. You know what I mean? I don't want him messing with externals or any of that stuff. Have them dealing with supernatural. The one person they can kind of mention every once in a while is like Doctor Strange flies by in the background on the astral plane because they're doing some stuff, or you know what I mean? Maybe Black Panther for a guest appearance or something like that. But they don't need to be. They're dealing with their whole like how Doctor Strange is saving the universe 5 times a week and the Avengers don't even know about it. That's what they're dealing. They're dealing with vampires, werewolves, demons, alternate planes of gods, things like that. That's what you could explore over here. And you could do horror and suspense and drama and the unhinged heroes. They have to deal with some street level stuff too. Like, I would love to see that Marvel. These characters are great with that. You should be able to put them on Disney Plus, but I get it. I get it. You know, you got Hamilton, but you can't have Moon Knight have some blood. I got you. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah,
I'm not bitter.
This is. I think this is the crazier thing is that I gotta be careful how I say it. Let me shut up because I was gonna say something. I'll say it.
They're not ready for that truth, Sam.
I'll say it anyway. When Doctor Strange 2, was initially greenlit, it was with a very different director. And the director, he wanted it to be the first real full-on horror Marvel film, right? And at a certain point, creative differences came up. He was respectfully pushed out. They brought Sam Raimi in there. We all love Sam Raimi. We love what Sam Raimi did. We know what his capability for horror standpoint is. There definitely is some implied horror elements when it comes to, Black Widow. Not Black Widow, but Scarlet Witch. But outside of that, this to me reminds me of what they did with Cap 3. And that this is going to be an Avengers level film more so than a horror, Marvel film, which I'm not knocking them. I'm hyped for Doctor Strange because of the multiverse. But initially, I was excited for the Doctor Strange because I was like, that is that's something they never tackled. The horror side of what it could be. I even ready for DC to do their Justice League Dark. I think J.J. Abrams was supposed to be doing, which I don't even know if that's even a thing with the Warner Discovery anymore. But with that, it's just another example of why I don't know why they renege on certain things like that, because I think there's a market to it. But they choose to add their blueprint to everything, and it leaves an impression sometimes it just doesn't work. And I think that Eternals is a good example of that. I think that honestly, they let Chloe Zhao really go all for what she was trying to do. I think that would have been a very, very different film. Because some people were really kind of like, I mean, there's a lot of downs about Eternals, but there's a lot of things that they really took a chance on that I could feel this blueprint was there. That I was like, okay, they can't go but so far. They got to round it back the same exact way. And I feel like in this show, there are levels to that you feel like, especially like episode 3 and episode 2, is just like, I don't know what you're doing. Like this doesn't feel like any stakes. Like what is really happening here? I'm not even caring about the psychological side of this. I don't care about the villain at all. So I'm hoping that they really do truly just go for it, as opposed to kind of needing it to be, I don't know. I guess it's about them trying to tap to their audience, but their audience now has grown up to be adults at this point.
Right. And you can have, even the Harry Potter movies got more adult as they went on. They aged with it. And I think people don't realize that. Well, first, Doctor Strange 1 is a forgettable movie except for 2 scenes.
Absolutely.
When he goes to the multiverse, when she hits him and goes to the multiverse and everything like that. And they have an interesting ending of how he beat the bad guy by trapping him in that time loop. But it's pretty much a forgettable movie after that.
Right.
People forget that Doctor Strange was a very popular character in like the 60s and 70s. And he has some strange out there adventures that were horror, fantasy, trippy, psychedelic adventures that you could tap into. Doctor Strange is a character you can have. You can be with the Avengers, but he also can be out there doing the things Avengers couldn't even dream of even handle. You know what I mean? Like, and you can do all these different things. I think one thing that Marvel is kind of lacking on, I think they get a little bit. Like you get the heist movie with Ant-Man, or if there's a popular movie version of that, we need a spy movie, so we're gonna do Captain America. Mm-hmm. But I think what they're not getting is you can have a horror genre, you could have a straight superhero drama, you could have a gritty street drama, you could have a superhero with powers that it's all about how their family gets along, how they deal with it. There's so many different markets you can play to, and if you want to, you'll have fans, because you know what, I'm kind of not feeling the superhero thing anymore. Oh, what? I got me a Ghost Rider, demons, him just fighting for his soul. It's not even superhero stuff. Like you know what I mean? Or I have this. There's so many different things you can do with comic books. Comic books aren't just being the superhero playbook. You know what I mean? There's so many different things you can do with that. And I think they proved it with this episode. Just got to stick that landing. Don't have him fight a version of himself, please.
Look, I always bring this up because this is the thing. A lot of people are kind of like, you're a DC dude, you don't care about Marvel, or you're always a Marvel fanboy. Like, I'm like, no, listen to me. When I looked at this animated film right here, I thought it was great, because I had seen other incarnations of Doctor Strange. I'd seen comic books of Doctor Strange, but I'd never seen it like this. I was like, this is a really good introduction. They did another series similar to that, and it came out with 2 different movies. Second movie wasn't as good, but the first one,
Ultimate Adventures,
freaking dope. The concept of this made me so excited for what the Avengers. This is predate before there was even a concept of an Avengers movie even going to be possible. But I was like, if they ever make it like this, it's going to be amazing. And it's 2 different scenes for both of these. With the Doctor Strange movie, it was kind of like, okay, they can really make this very trippy and very dark, but at the same time make it very heroic and atmospheric and really go places you've never gone before. It can be very different. With the Avengers
Doctor
movie,
Who.
Right. And with the Avengers movie, there's one scene, and anybody that's seen that movie will know it. When the Hulk loses it, after they've already beat the bad guy, like he is about to destroy the Avengers. Like it got to the point that
people
it got to the point that like Thor almost got his head chopped off, and Cap had to get involved. And like I was like, yo, straight up, like I actually love Captain America because of this. Like honestly, I never forgot that because I was like, everybody's on the ground, everybody's about to die. Cap's still fighting, got a broken arm, still fighting.
Bobbing and weaving.
Hope was going in. I was like, we've still never got a Hope to this level. But I'm saying that when you see stuff like that, and even DC does the same thing, some of their animated films really show the rawness of what these could be on a live action scale. They just don't commit. Either it's the studio or they're trying to hold back something because they're playing to a demographic. And I could preach on this, but I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it tonight.
They don't trust the characters. They don't trust the characters. And when you don't trust the concept, this is why they tried to make Superman an anti-hero instead of making him the ideal that he's supposed to be. And they thought it wouldn't work. They thought it was hokey. But then you get Steve Rogers, who was the ideal. Then you get like All Might, who is the ideal. And so it did work, but you didn't trust your character. And there's a reason why some of these characters have worked for decades upon decades behind decades. Maybe they've changed, maybe they've evolved, maybe they're different versions, but there's always something key there that you cannot mess with. You have to trust the character. And if you don't trust the character, don't do the character. There's probably another character that fits what you want to do. That was the Hawk, and we have never gotten that Hawk. And that was even just based on the Ultimate series. That wasn't even really based on Avengers. It was based on the Ultimate series, but we never...
Right. Dude.
And let the Hawk be Hawk. There should be a reason why everybody's... And I thought we were going to get it because in that first Avengers movie, and I know Josh Whedon's not in favor right now, but he did get How to Make a Teen movie. And there was a point where Hawk was chasing the Scarlet Witch, and you saw that look in her eye. I'm not Scarlet Witch.
Black Widow.
Black Widow. And it was every time Black Widow, that's like Thor, Tony Stark, aliens, never see a hint of fear. Bruce Banner in that house, she was scared. Hawk transforming, she was scared because you got the feeling that she saw the reports. She knew that he don't have control over this.
Right.
And so that made you appreciate the raw power of this.
Right. Yeah. So again,
my headphones are dying.
No, we're gonna close up shop because honestly, I could talk about why I love Marvel, why I love DC, why I love superhero genres, and what they could do from storytelling standpoint. This is a raw, pure example of how this could be done right on a live action scale with any of these. And I think this episode was phenomenal. It made me a fan of Moon Knight, and I hope we get more of this. Even though I don't think we.
No, we're going. Sam, I'm the pessimist. You're the optimist. I'm supposed to be like, no, this is gonna be crap. Stop getting your hopes up, Sam. You how did we switch? How did we switch?
I have one name that is a cause to my change.
Oh,
Lucas.
Damn it, Lucas.
Falling out the top of.
I can see the skyline, 50 mile radius on my timeline. Ain't nothing on my mind. Oh